This is a Onenie original podcast.
Do she have the booty?
Does she have the booty? She do. 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 As in money.
Hi, I'm Bria.
Hello, I'm Natalie.
Welcome to the She Do podcast, where we interview nothing but female bosses in their respective fields. This show is made by women, about women, and for women. And this week, we have Sierra Onickle. Got it right. Good. And she is a, what is it?
A forensic photographer.
Forensic photographer.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
And we love Sierra. Sierra and I go way back.
Way back.
We love
The
her.
good old days.
Indeed. And you know what? And it's honestly, it's so not surprising to me at all that this is where you found yourself.
Everyone says that, I think.
And I love that. So Sierra, so tell us what do you do forensic photography? What is this?
So I work for a medical examiner's office. And I work in the morgue, so I don't go to crime scenes. That's not so much a thing anymore. I don't know. I could get into that later if you want. But
Sure.
so I photograph fatal injury. So any cases where someone died as a result of their injuries, I have to photograph those injuries in detail for the doctors and police officers and everything. They're used in a whole bunch of ways before they get their autopsy, because once they get their autopsy, then you kind of can't see anything anymore. Stuff's been messed around with. So yeah.
Fucking cool. I'm so excited about this. I've been wondering and just kind of a dream. I'm sure like my mind is sort of like fantasizing all of this like way beyond its coolness, but I'm just like, wow, that just sounds so crazy and so cool. Disclaimer for everybody out there listening. Considering what it is we're talking about, if you're not all about,
If you're squeamish,
delightfully bloody, gory things, maybe skip ahead a little bit. I don't know.
You guys are
Yeah.
talking to me.
oh no.
Yes, I'm very
I'll try to keep it chill.
squeamish. The first time
And,
I got my period, I remember I almost passed out. So, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I think we all kind of feel that way the first time.
no, it wasn't even because of that. It was just like just seeing blood. I'm like,
Oh,
ew,
yeah.
it's blood.
So take a poll. What's worse, people blood, like dead people blood, or like first period blood?
Dead people blood.
Dead people blood.
I'm sure dead people blood like is probably so much.
It depends.
So I want to get right into it. Like,
Sure.
what is like? First off, how did this even come about? How did this job come about?
Well, I've always been interested in weird stuff. Natalie knows. And I have a photography degree. I went to CCS.
Ooh, good school.
Yeah, it was
College
a
for Creative Studies
yes,
here in
College for
Detroit.
Creative Studies. So I have a photography degree, and I met my boss kind of randomly, like a long time ago. And I did an internship with her while I was still at CCS. And then, last year she contacted me and was like, we're hiring weekend photographers. So I was like, cool.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I got into it. I got kind of lucky, like kind of knowing her and being able to reach out to her. But it's sort of been in the back of my mind as something I always wanted to do, because I didn't want to do the classic wedding photography and portrait photography and all that. Not that that's bad. It's great.
Yeah.
I totally respect everyone that does that. I'm just not.
That's not your thing.
That's not
do
you.
it. I've
Yeah,
tried.
That's not you.
Yeah.
So, like, what was your first day on the job like? Were you kind of like, I know that you just said that you've always kind of been into, like, weird things, but, like, was it kind of like on the first day you saw this stuff and was like, this is a lot? Or was it like, oh, this is so cool? Like,
Yeah. Because even when I started my internship, like I shadowed her for like a morning, and it was like thrown right into it, really, because they handle like everything over there, and I don't know. I thought it was really cool.
Okay.
It was a little overwhelming just because it's not like what you see on TV. It's not all like, it's they're doing a job. They've got a job to do. They have to get it done in a specific amount of time, you know.
So there's not like talk about the affairs happening at the office.
Oh my God.
And
no.
all
That's not a thing. It's just not like they can't just do like one at a time. You know, they've got families that have to get their loved ones back and, you know, stuff like that. So I don't know. I kind of wasn't really fazed by it. I just thought it was really cool because they're like, I have like a little room off to the side and then they're doing autopsies in like the main post room.
Okay.
So yeah, they're just like over there and I got to walk through and grab doctors or like do this and that. And so I'm seeing stuff and hearing stuff all the time.
That is crazy.
Whoa. I guess that's kind of nice when your clients like don't ask you dumb questions. I don't know.
That's kind of, yeah.
I mean, I think I would be the one wanting to ask them dumb questions like, what happened to you? It's like, damn, like.
What mess did you get yourself into, then, my
right.
friend?
Like, so what is the most interesting shoot that you've ever done thus far?
I mean, I can't talk about specific cases.
Oh, no.
So that's a little difficult.
Maybe like an interesting sort of, what's like one of the most interesting aspects of it maybe for you, or something that just always...
Yeah, I don't know. I like being able to photograph internal stuff. So obviously there's injuries a lot of time, like on the outside if someone's shot or they're in a car accident. But I get asked too to photograph internal stuff during the autopsy, so I always think that's really cool. Like if they need a brain photographed, like I'm always up for that. Any sort of organs, I love photographing organs and bones. I really love photographing bones.
Oh yes.
So you know if there's like an anthropology element, that's always fun. But yeah, I like watching the techs work too.
Oh, so cool. So cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Wow. makes me think of the good old high school biology days. And
yes, I sometimes think about like what our teacher would, I feel like she would just be like, yeah.
She would just like fist bump you.
Yeah.
And just be like,
she gave me like a little, I feel like I like owe a lot to her. She gave me a little pamphlet for the Mutter Museum. Just because she was like, you need to go here one day. And I was like,
so
I do.
What is that? Can you explain what that is? Oh, Mrs. Mays, our beautiful.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to Mrs. Mays.
What a dream.
And Mrs. Murphy, because she taught the forensic science class that I took.
Right.
And I totally forgot about that.
Wow. Oh, my gosh. So
Yeah,
shout out to all you cool, badass
Science
high
ladies.
school lady biologist teachers dealing with our weird asses.
Right. Wait, what did you just ask me?
I'm sorry. The museum.
Yeah. Yeah, it's this, it's a museum in Philadelphia, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the Mutter Museum, Mutter, named after Thomas Dent Mutter. I read a whole book about him. I'm such a huge nerd. And it's basically this huge, like, I don't know how big it is, but they have a lot of specimens. It's a pathology museum. So they just have a lot of artifacts and specimens of medicine throughout, I think from like the 1700s on, maybe. I'm trying to remember when he lived.
I love good quack medicine.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's so the best. Good. So they have like the tallest human skeleton next to like the smallest human skeleton and like a whole like display of like objects found and like that people have like swallowed. Ooh. And like different like wax, I can't think of the word, like wax statues of like how they used to make like displays of like different diseases and stuff and lots of things in jars. I don't know. It's like one of my dreams to go there. I've never been there, but
so
I really want to
start one here in Detroit, I think.
That would be fun.
Oh, man,
they should.
I'd be all about that. It feels like the right place to have something like that.
Yeah, there should be a museum like that here. I mean, well, the Science Museum had the Body Worlds exhibit.
Oh, that was so cool.
Very controversial, but very cool.
Controversial?
Yeah.
What was controversial about it? I don't remember.
It's just the exhibition as a whole, the like guy who did it. I can't remember. Gunther von Hagens, I think. All the bodies that he got, I think he got from like it's like kind of sketchy, like the way he got them.
I bought these bodies on the black market.
No, they were all like Chinese mine workers or something.
Oh,
like the people before they died didn't have a way to consent to him like taking their bodies. I think that's like maybe someone can like tell you the actual facts about that later. So yeah, I like get why it's controversial. It's like, yeah.
Interesting.
It's still really cool though.
Interesting. I mean, I remember thinking that was really cool when I don't know if you went to that at all, Bria, but was it the Detroit Science Center? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did this thing.
Michigan Science.
Yeah, the Michigan Science Center a couple years ago where they had all of these like
they're
plasticized, these like plasticized body parts. And they had like cross sections of people that were like in like super thin slices and bones, and it was so cool and so creepy but awesome. It was like the place where like science and all the spooky girls of high school go.
Yep. Did you? Yeah. Well, we went to U of M too with Mrs. Mays' class.
Oh, it was a good time. Yeah, I passed out.
You did?
I think so. I went out in the hallway and was like,
oh my gosh. Yeah. I don't remember that.
It was
I was probably like distracted.
Oh, everyone was like so excited. I was the only person that was like, well, you know what?
I'm gonna step out.
Because it was so weird. I don't know if there's like what gets you about, if anything ever just gets you, like it's surprisingly, but like the one thing that like got me, I think when we were there is, even though, so this particular body was like plasticized, it was like an elderly woman who had passed away and donated her body to U of M for science. And so, you know, it was kind of, several years older, I think, because, not years, but months.
She had been there for a while, but she had been, like, the way that preservation works is, like, you don't, like, nothing happens to you. You stay pretty pristine.
Yeah.
Depending on how they,
Yeah, and so, like, I guess the idea is that, like, they tried their best to sort of remove any, like, distinguishable features, like, from people, I guess. I don't know if I thought that's what it was for them or something. But, like, it didn't look like really a person anymore. But, so the one thing that, like, really got me, though, there were still painted fingernails.
Yeah,
oh my God.
Fingernail polish lasts a pretty long time.
There was red fingernail polish. Oh
my
God. And I was like, I think I'm going to go outside.
You know what's crazy? When you're dead, your fingernails still grow?
Is that real?
No, that's not true.
That's not true?
So, we can bust this myth.
Debunk this myth for us. What's
It's basically, so like part of the decomposition process is your body kind of like dries out first. Mm. So, I don't know how to explain it, but your skin like shrinks back onto your bones. So more of your nail bed is just exposed. So it looks like it's grown, but it hasn't. Same thing goes with like your hair.
Beef jerky with a mad manicure.
Oh God.
Cool.
Yeah. So yeah, that's not true.
What are some other myths that come along with like dead people that people really believe, that you've learned in your experience that are not true?
That's, I think, the main one that's really not true. I don't know if this would be a myth, but like people talk about like death rattles, which is like people think that like they not breathe after death, but you can like hear them or whatever, which is like sort of true, but kind of not, because like, when you're dead and you're decomposing, there's like gases being released. So it's kind of weird sometimes, like if you move the body, some gas will get released and it does kind of sound like they're like
breathing
or
I guess that makes
sometimes
sense.
It's like a gurgle because there's like some fluids and stuff in there too.
I mean, I'm sure like anybody who ate a Big Mac and then like, kicked the bucket, was like, it's still in there. It's still got to go somewhere at some point, I guess.
Oh, imagine White Castle as a last meal. Woo! Heavy gas.
Oh no. I'd be so like, man, even though I'm dead and like nothing even matters anymore and I'm like not even here for it, I'm just like, man, I like don't even want to be like the person. I'd be like, sorry.
I'm so sorry that my body's decomposing
I'm so sorry,
like
guys.
this.
Like, I'm like one of those perpetually sorry people that I'm just like, I'm so sorry I've inconvenienced you today, and I'm like, even after I'm dead, I'm like, I'm so sorry that I ate White Castle and I've inconvenienced you so deeply, and I have to clean up my body. Sorry.
I don't think it would matter what you ate.
Yeah, I was gonna say
unless people... they needed to use that to figure out when you died or something. I don't know.
I admire old people because they don't care. They will literally let one rip and just be like, and so what? So, yeah, I don't think.
Perks to being old.
Yeah, then it's like once, I think like once, you see a decomposing body, I think the last thing you think about is like, damn, she farted. Like, I think that's the last thing on your mind.
I guess there's stinkier, grosser things that are happening inside of you that aren't just like White Castle, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
A fart is probably nothing to when they cut a body open. So,
is that awful or what?
Yeah, depending on how far along they are. Like, I mean, I've worked there for a year now, but I'm part-time, so I work like weekends and holidays, so I'm not there every single day. Mm-hmm. So I haven't really had the chance to really get used to the smell of human decomp. Like the techs have. I even asked one, I was like, do you just get used to it after a while? And she's like, yeah, you just get used to it, because they're doing the job. They're tough people. They're in there. So usually I'm lucky I don't have to photograph someone who's super decomposed.
Oh dear.
Because usually it's sad. Usually it's like a natural death, if someone dies in their home.
Oh, and like no one remembers that they were there.
Yeah, if they haven't had like a wellness check in a while. So that's sad, but if they have like a history of cancer, then they'll do the autopsy or take whatever toxicology they can. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, I don't have to do that, but sometimes I do. And yeah, I just kind of have to I just deal with it. It's hard. I've gagged a couple times. But
I think I saw.
I just kind of.
This is really gross, but I saw it on your like your Snapchat story or something the other day. I think she posted. I don't think it was on Snapchat, but she posted like this picture that said like, "Hey, I think I'm starting to get used to maggots."
Oh, just of me. Yeah, I never post. I can't post pictures of stuff.
Oh, but, yeah, of you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, because it's like They just say, when the bodies are picked up and taken to the ME's office, they're just in whatever state they're in. Mm-hmm. They've just been weighed and identified and whatever, so they still have whatever's on them, and bugs get onto the scene really quickly.
Oh, gosh.
So, depending on how long they're there, yeah, sometimes they still have maggots on them, and it's really gross. Like, I think I'm only just starting to get used to it. I haven't seen any in a while, but it's just like, it's not a pretty sight.
Does seeing those type of things, does it desensitize you to like, I don't know, I guess people getting like killed or like being dying or
yeah, there's a lot of desensitizing. It's weird though, because I can see all the gory stuff, because I see a lot of gory stuff, gunshot wounds and stuff like that. But I can't watch like horror movies where like living people are getting like injured. Like, I'll never watch the Saw movies. I don't need that. But if like someone's already dead, it's like, okay. What's happened has happened. But yeah, I'm not gonna. I guess I don't want to.
That makes sense.
I guess if you're able to like kind of separate.
I guess I can. I still have some empathy.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense to separate it at that point, because if you like don't know them and don't know their history or their personalities or anything about them, I guess at that point it just kind of turns into this is just a
it's thing. A job, Yeah. I only find out and know like a very small part of what happened to someone. Mm-hmm. So I think it's maybe a little bit easier for me. I don't have to talk to family members or anything, which is like, again, like props to the investigators.
Wow.
Because I don't think I could ever do that part.
Wow, yeah.
But yeah, I just say that I'm probably super desensitized. Wow, maybe there's some compartmentalizing too going on. But I don't know. I guess I'm just really interested by it. Even decomposition, I think, is kind of cool. I don't know. And it's just like part of life. Like, it's going to happen.
So how is your view, have your views developed or changed, since you began working here about death, dying, any of those things, or I don't know, any sort of like call to the above?
I I mean, I'm still, like, afraid to die. Like, I don't want to die. But I think I've kind of accepted that, like, it can happen at any time. Mm-hmm. I could, something could happen to me when I leave here today. Obviously, hopefully not.
Knock on wood.
But, yeah, oh, no, there's no wood around here. But, yeah, I don't know. I think I've just gotten more used to it. I am sort of interested in, like, I can't think of what I want to say, like alternative burial sort of things, which doesn't really have anything to do with like my job, but
those are
I
so
am
cool.
super interested in that. Yeah, like green burials and like all that sort of stuff.
I think that's amazing. Like, I just feel like, it doesn't seem so final. Like, once you see somebody go into the casket and get released, dropped into the ground, you're like, damn, like, But then again, like, if you were to put them in a tree and just, like, plant them, you're like, oh, there's Uncle Pete in the backyard.
I think
like,
it's nice.
Yeah. I think that's, like, cool. Like, I think that's an amazing alternative to, burying people in, like, caskets and
it
things
seems
like
so much more sustainable.
Yeah, like embalming there's so many chemicals. I mean, it's like if that's what you want to do, that's cool, but like all that just leaches into the ground eventually.
Do you really know what goes into that? Like
embalming?
I don't know.
I don't know because that's all the funeral homes.
Right.
Like that, I think that was something I had written down. Like morticians are completely separate from like a coroner or a medical examiner, or an autopsy technician or a pathologist or whatever. So morticians work at the funeral homes and they do the embalming and all the funeral stuff. I mean, the most I know is that like they basically replace your body fluids with embalming fluids. I mean, I've seen like every like once in a while we'll get a body from a funeral home. Usually we don't because like we're the stop before the funeral home. So I have seen like some of the little things like they'll put in your eyes to like keep your eyes closed.
What things? Like, what is it?
They have like these caps that they put to, because your eyes kind of sink in when you die because you like dehydrate and lose fluids and stuff. So they'll put these little cap thingies that kind of make sure your eyes stay closed, but then also make them look like they're not like sunken into your head.
Like little contact lenses, I guess, maybe.
Yeah,
almost.
Kind of like thick, thick contact lenses.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. But honestly, sometimes that's weirder to me because they're like a weird color.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they put makeup and stuff on you, but like, I'm like, oh, this isn't natural.
Yeah. I think I've thought that the last few times that I've like, if I've ever gone to any funerals or anything like that, I think like they're like the wrong color.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of cool the people who do like makeup and stuff for that, but yeah, it's weird. Embalming's a little weird.
I love that show. What's that show? 6 Feet Under?
Oh, I've never watched it.
Oh my god!
I think it's on my list.
Oh, it's so good. It has the guy from Dexter.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Michael
a delight.
C. Hall.
Oh my god, Michael C. Hall, marry me.
Dreamboat.
So, what is the hardest part of your job to you?
Honestly, physically, because I'm not a huge person and I have to move bodies around. So I've gotten a lot better at it, but like I'm moving gurneys around and they're heavy and bodies are heavy. And like if someone has injuries on their back, I have to roll them over and photograph their back. So I have to ask for help a lot with that, which everyone's awesome there. They like are super helpful and will, help me out. But that's the hardest thing for me. I'm like, ugh.
Oh, dang.
Please don't let there be anything on the back.
Hey, everyone out there, don't stab anybody in the back today, literally and like.
Figuratively.
Yeah. I was like, what's the word I was looking for? I could not figure that word out for a second. Literally or figuratively. Don't stab anyone in the back today.
And do you hope to do your job like full time? Like, is that your not ultimate goal, but is that something that you hope to achieve? And what is your ultimate goal in this career field?
Yeah, I really like what I'm doing. I would like to do it full time one day. It's kind of like a very niche sort of job, especially being like the photographer in the morgue. Like, only the really sort of big medical examiner offices have them. Because, like I said, like, if I wanted to do, like, crime scene photography, I'd basically have to become, like, a forensic tech and work for a police department, because then they go to crime scenes and gather all the evidence, including photographs. But, yeah, I'd like to do this full time, or I don't know if they hire photographers at body farms, but I'd love to work at a body farm.
Body farms are so cool. Can you tell us about body farms?
Yeah, I guess. There's the like most well-known one is in Tennessee, that was started by Dr. Bass, Bill Bass, I think is his name. And they're forensic can't think of the word that I want. Basically, people can donate their body there. And so they'll take the bodies and they will bury them or put them in different situations where a body might be found, inside or outside, with clothes on, without clothes on, whatever, and study how different situations affect decomposition. Because, like, if you do die in your home and it's summertime and you don't have air conditioning, you're going to decompose a lot faster than if you have air conditioning and it's like keeping you colder, or if you die outside in the winter versus dying outside in the summer. So they're always studying that, because, like, there is, like, a general rate of decomposition, but, like, so many factors affect it, with, like, temperature and humidity and animals and bugs and stuff. So they study that, and they just opened the first cold weather one in the UP at your school.
They did. They just opened.
Which is awesome.
We talked about, wow, this is the second time we got to drop NMU on the show.
Yeah.
Yesterday, too. They're doing some weird, I don't know what the hell's going on up in the UP. But
I'd love to go see it.
They started doing, so we talked on our last podcast about how they just started their medicinal plant research program. So like they're like talking about pot and learning about pot, and then also they just opened this body farm.
That's
so
amazing.
Pot and Body Farm is like northern now. And
That's
they
awesome.
have the first ever cold weather body farm at my alma mater. So way to go NMU for that.
Ooh.
Weirdness, but sure.
Yeah, I think the woman that's like overseeing it, I think she used to work for the medical examiner's office. I met her once, like briefly, and I was an intern.
So cool.
Maybe I could name drop.
Yeah.
Get a job up there.
Oh, man,
I don't know if I want to live in the Upper Peninsula, though.
No, it's great. I really loved living in the UP. Even though, I mean, it's snowing out right now, and I'm already, like, being a big baby and pulled out my parka, but, like, man, living in the UP is so great, though.
I mean, I know it's beautiful.
Yeah. It's so good. Have you ever been to the UP, Bria?
You know what? No.
Oh, my God.
I really... Like, I'm more so of a big city type of person. So I've never really had the desire to go, but I heard amazing things about it being beautiful. Yeah. But I've never been before.
Oh, it's so cool. I love living.
It's been a
there.
really long time. I think I've only been like just across the bridge.
Oh God, you guys
So
gotta get to
I know. I want to go really badly.
So good. There's also the best, like, one of the best vacations I think I ever had was with my mom a couple falls ago, up in like Houghton. We went to like Copper Harbor and in Houghton. We went to the Quincy mines. That's in Hancock, close to Houghton. In Hancock, there's the mines, and there's a mine tour you can go on.
Oh, that's cool. Oh yeah, the copper mines. That's right. There's crap ton of copper.
Yeah, it's so cool, and you can see all the bats and stuff
Ooh,
in there.
Yes.
Oh, it's so cool. See, I figured Sierra would like that.
Yeah, that's
resident spooky girl.
Hell yeah.
I like it.
Oops.
Oh,
You could say that.
I know. I went on just classic me. I went on a cemetery tour of Elmwood Cemetery in Detroit. It was awesome. The Detroit Historical Preservation Society, I think, does it. And but yeah, Houghton, the guy who's named, who went up there and like found all the copper mines and stuff, like that's how we got the Upper Peninsula, was because he went and like surveyed the land and was like, there's a bunch of copper up here. Oh. This is awesome.
Everybody likes copper.
Yeah. Ohio can have, it was like this whole thing between Michigan and Ohio.
Ohio?
Yeah.
Not
it
Wisconsin?
was like,
Wisconsin?
no, I don't know about that, but she was saying something about Michigan history.
Oh.
Like, the area near like Lake Erie. Oh shit, sorry. My notes just fell. Near like Lake Erie, like we were fighting them over that or something. And Houghton was like, well, what about this area up here? And they're like, what? No, there's nothing up there. So he went and he did like his own geological survey and found all these mines. And he was like, yeah, guys, let's do that.
He's like, I'm claiming this.
Yeah.
That
That was a really bad explanation of it, but I just remember he was like this cool scientist that had like some groupies and they called themselves like Houghton's Boys or something.
No, what?
Yeah.
Wow, I want more scientists to have groupies.
Right?
That would make
What
me
happened
so
to that?
happy.
I'll be a scientist groupie.
Oh, me too. I'll be your groupie. Be great.
My groupie?
I'll be your groupie.
Aw, thanks.
Hooray, see
gosh.
dead people.
I need to be more of a scientist. Which I would like to do. I think about going back to school maybe for something, but I don't know that I want to go back to school.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, man.
I'm in it, and I'm just like, I'm over it.
Yeah.
I'm over it. And though school is a great thing, it's just like, I guess for me, because I aspire to do media, and I pretty much have worked the jobs that I've wanted, it's just kind of like, do I really need this? But I'm only 20 credits away from my degree. So I was like, it's no point of me. Yeah, it's no point of me being like, up, I'm out. Like,
then,
I'm so close.
You can be like, look, I have the official piece of paper.
Exactly.
That's
and
nice.
people will find that for whatever reason better.
Right.
Even though you're like, look at all this experience.
The paper and the debt that comes along.
Yep.
with it.
Look at this debt. Yeah.
Right.
Supposedly they pay you more, but I don't know.
Yeah. Debatable.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's sadly not true. There's people who have, unfortunately, there are people who have master's degrees and probably are a janitor. Like, and that's like a sad reality of schools. Like, no, seriously, like it's a sad reality that
You're doing something. You're doing what you want to do.
Oh, I love my job. I love what I do. I think it's so great.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. But yeah, master's degree is always.
I know. I'm like, ooh, I could get a master's degree. I'm like, oh, I don't know.
You know what? I went into this semester and was like, you know what? After this, I think I'm going to get my master's degree. No. This semester, I'm like, this is some bullshit.
This is it.
Like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, because it's just like, especially like when you're, like, once you get into like your career, you know what you want to do. School is like kind of time consuming. It takes up a lot of time, especially when it's stuff that you already know. So it's kind of like, why am I writing papers about how to my editing technique, and this is not, you know what I mean? Like I know what aspect of media I want to work in, but it's just like, it's just strange. It's weird.
It is kind of weird when you've already been doing it.
Yeah.
Like, gotta kind of take a step back and you're like, okay.
Oh my god.
But I'm grateful.
I think at the time I remember thinking like, why do I need this? But then like in retrospect, I think I really appreciated the exposure to a lot of different things, because I think
That's true.
You know, that crossover that you find, like, you know, you for instance, you know photography and you know, forensics are generally not thought of the same one and the same, but I'm sure at some point in your schooling, even if you thought, you know, I want to be a photographer, this is what I want to do, I'm here, and then you were like, well, I guess I have to take this biology class too, and you're like, well, you know what, this is pretty awesome, right?
Yeah, I mean, they had, CCS used to have classes for, like, biomedical and, like, forensic and medical photography. But then they got rid of them before I got there. So, but they were like, you know, people have interned with the ME's office before. I'm like, okay.
Pick me.
They're like, you just have to do the work. I was like, thanks, CCS. I guess I shouldn't talk back. I love you, CCS. Learned a lot. Love it.
Universities are those weird places where you love them and you learn so much, but at the same time you're like,
Love-hate
you're
relationship.
just like,
yeah.
what the hell are you doing, man? Like,
You curse them for debt. You're like,
Dude.
yeah.
But I feel like college or going to university is more so an expensive way to kind of help you, like, learn about like your resources and connecting with people. I think it's more so like more social as opposed to like you learning. Like, because I remember, I think it's an expensive networking experience. Like, totally. Because you're kind of forced, like a lot of, unless your parents like have a lot of money, you're out of school, like literally trying to struggle to make it. You're paying rent. You have this job that you probably hate that doesn't really pay that much, and
but you need it.
Yeah, but you need it. Like you can't do it without it, or like, you'll be like living in the like the common room of school, like just bumming it on the couch. But I feel like say for example, I have a bunch of friends that graduated from Michigan State, and I remember like they would do some of the most outrageous things to like have stuff and to like connect with people. So like, say for example, like a janitor's cart. Like someone left their janitor's cart outside of like a classroom or something. Okay. And so they stole tissue because they're like, look, we our jobs like are not paying us enough. Like I can't keep asking my mom. Yeah, I don't have what I need, so I'm gonna do this. And they would like connect with like people in like the cafeteria to make sure they have food, and connect with people who are like let's say videography students if they had a if they had a project or we're working on something, they'd be like, okay, well I know this guy, he does videography here, so let me connect with him. And I feel like not having money kind of puts you in a position to be like, okay, let me get creative and see what I could what I have. Like, and I remember my uncle, he told me like when he was in college, one of the things that he used to do was that they didn't spend money on like condiments, so like salt, pepper, ketchup. Condoms. I was like, oh my gosh, that's gross. No,
you gotta spend money on that.
Yeah, you have to.
It's not like you can.
It's one of those things.
That's literally a matter of life and death in two ways. Like, but it's like he told me that they wouldn't buy like condiments, so they would go to like McDonald's and Wendy's and stuff like that. So they had the salt and pepper like packets and ketchup. And they said they would just always, whenever they would go, they would just grab a handful and put it in like their drawer.
Oh, so you just go to Bucharest because they'll just give you like 9,000 packets. Like.
Yeah. So he said that they would just like keep stuff like that. So like they would never have to buy like ketchup, mustard, ranch, salt and pepper and stuff like that because they haven't had an abundance of it at home.
It's not the worst idea.
I used to stockpile on toilet paper.
Tips for college kids out there.
In the dorm room, like if you like went up to the desk and just said, "Hey, I need some toilet paper," and they'd give it to you, and you just like keep getting it and like just take all of it. But then I remember like they caught on to like people doing that, and they were like, you had to bring back your empty toilet paper roll to get a new one. So man. At that point, I was also like, I'm gonna be a little more creative, and then just like take them from other people.
Oh God. Be like, can I have your toilet paper roll, please?
Yeah, and I was just nice. The empty roll. You're like, look, it's empty. I used all of it.
Dumpster diving for toilet paper rolls.
Oh yeah. Now look at me, living the dream.
Living the dream. Oh man.
College hacks.
Seriously.
Good times.
I lived at home, so.
Oh man.
I just commuted.
That's pretty nice.
Same. I wanted to have that experience, but I know I would have wasted a lot of money because
it's so expensive to live on campus.
And my thing is, I know I would have wasted money because when I first graduated from high school, I did not want to do media. Like I thought I was going to be an English major because I wanted to be what is her name? I wanted to be Miranda Priestly. Like that's what I thought my job was going to be. Yes. So I wanted to go to school to be an English. I wanted to double major in English and fashion marketing because I was just like, that's what I'm going to do because I'm going to be Miranda Priestly and I want to tell Andy that
Anna
song.
Wintour.
Yes, like that's what I really wanted to do. I just felt like Miranda Priestly had a better hairdo. Like
my MVP. Like, oh my gosh. Oof.
Yeah, so I know I would have wasted a lot of money. So I was just like, luckily I had unfortunately I had the scenic route through school, but I feel like it's worth it because a lot of people, go to universities, stay on campus, and they're like, I'm not even using my degree. Like, so it's just like, well, I'm not finished, but I'm using mine.
Yeah,
so,
there you go.
Yeah, so that sounds good.
Like Sierra was talking earlier about networking and kind of knowing people. You know, you said you had to like kind of know this person from your internship to get your job later, and kind of, you know, it's kind of like about pardon me, getting a little raspy. It's kind of like a lot about like just who you know and who you meet, and just kind of getting out and talking to people, and like no matter if like even if you went to like the best college and you know all over the world, if you don't talk to people and like get to know people and kind of make those connections, it's not like you don't really get much out of it, I think.
Yeah. I feel like I am pretty bad at networking, so I got
Sounds like
lucky.
you did a pretty good job though, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
That time. You don't need to have like 1,000 contacts, but
Right,
like 4
right.
or 5 good contacts are,
Yeah.
they'll get you where you gotta be.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
I think with networking, like a lot of times you don't really get to do this, but I remember I was listening to a podcast and the host was talking about like intentionally networking. So like you could go to an event and say, for example, the person that you would like to speak with is there. So you would just like plan it out like, okay, well,
Oh, yeah.
I see that they have a panel between this time and I see a 15-minute break. Let me use about 5 minutes of their time to go speak with them, because it helps people that are like introverted but need to make connections.
Yeah.
So I same, like when I first started networking, I was horrible. Like I'm more so of a like people watcher, and I'm really big on like vibes. So it's like, you know, it may be somebody that you need to talk to, but if I'm like, your vibe is kind of musty, like I don't like your vibe is kind of like stank, like I'll just be like, nah, I'm okay, like, you know. So for
Take
people,
your stank vibe out there.
Yeah,
Maria's in town.
yeah, like I
Don't
can't
need that.
I can't do like stank vibes, because like it'll be all over my face, and they'll be like, what's wrong with you? I'm just like,
Oh, yeah.
it's a little funky in here. Like, so it's just like,
Something up with you.
yeah, so it's just like you have to like intentionally like network with people, because like some people are just like naturally extroverted, so they can go into a room like, hey, what's up? I met all these new people. But for me, I'm more so of a people watcher and like more introverted before I like speak with people. So I'm just like, okay. Let me know. But like since I've done it more, it's like less anxiety around like networking.
Yeah, you get used to it.
Yeah. Because a lot of people
You have
are
a
cool.
script. You figure out what you need to do and how to do it.
No, it's not even that. It's just like I've just been fortunate to connect with people who are synergistic and that have good vibes. And I also learned that everything is not for you. Just because somebody's doing something that you might find useful for you, their personality type might not be for you. And it might end in a disaster before you even get the chance to try. So it's just like, I'll just be like, it was a pleasure meeting you. Like,
that was fun.
Yeah, that was cool, but I'm
on.
good. You're a little musty. I'm okay. So, yeah.
Musty. Fix your must before you go talk to Bria.
You need personality deodorant.
If only.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Some people need it. Some people need to spray it on like a middle schooler
spraying on Axe.
Like a middle school boy spraying on Axe.
They need to shower in it, wash up in
chest.
it, bask in it.
Spray on that personality.
Yes, they do.
Sounds like a 1950s ad.
I know.
Spray on that personality.
If you don't want to be musty, spray this on and your personality will shine.
We'll cover it up at least
For
for
right.
24-hour protection against bullshit coming out of your mouth.
I'm here for it.
Well, it still probably is bullshit, but people will believe you.
Yeah.
It smells a lot nicer.
It smells a lot nicer, yeah.
Oh, you know what? That just reminded me that there's this thing. I don't know how, like, if this thing is, like, legit or, like, just, like, totally just stupid.
Yeah.
But I bought this thing for my friend who does, like, those pure romance parties.
Oh, no. Okay. You bought it for her or from her?
From her. I got it from her because, like, I'm one of those, I'm a friend. I got friends who love doing that kind of stuff and selling that kind of stuff. And I'm like, well, I think this is all kind of, like, dumb. But, like, I like you and I'll buy your stuff. Sure.
Right.
But I got this thing and it was super interesting. It was called, like, a sex attractant. Like perfume,
like a pheromone thing.
It's like it got pheromones in it.
Interesting.
And I was like, what? And I like roll it on, and it smells like really good, but in a weird way. And it's very strange. And allegedly, it's supposed to make people like get all like woo about
Did you wear it to that Tinder thing?
Oh, of course I did.
Yeah.
No one showed up, so I was just smelling myself the whole time.
You're like, well,
Yeah,
hey, you know
right?
what? Feel good about yourself.
Maybe it works. I don't know.
That's what's up.
I don't know. It was weird though, and I'm like, interesting. So
That's
amazing.
interesting. I wonder if it works. Like,
I don't know. I think it may. I mean, at least I think it worked on myself.
mm.
Like
You're like, ooh, I feel
Right.
good about myself.
I do. Like I feel like I was like, ooh, I'm a stompa like down the runway and
Well,
like,
maybe it's
swish
like
my
that
hair.
confidence boost, you know?
It really was. I'm like, you really can roll on a better personality. Like,
You just need some pheromones. That's really
That is
interesting.
funny.
so Sierra, do you have anything you want to like plug?
Oh, gosh. I don't know.
Any last words or cool things, going on that, you think are super, people should definitely look into or?
I guess, I don't know. I'm reading a good book right now about necrosearch, which is, sort of slightly after the body farms, but still along the lines of, it was a group that was started to find clandestine graves.
Ooh.
So, if
What is
someone...
that?
So if someone was murdered and then buried somewhere, but they weren't able to find where they were buried, like they kind of touch on one of Ted Bundy's victims. So he was a famous killer. They did not end up finding her, unfortunately. But
That's so scary.
yeah, they buried pigs to sort of see, like, again, with the body farms, like how different depths, how they decomposed, and scavenger is what happened there, and how you can use aerial photography to find old graves and stuff. That was pretty interesting. It's called No Stone Unturned.
Oh, that
That's
sounds
pretty good.
awesome. I have to put that on my Goodreads list.
Yeah, Goodreads. Woo. Anyway, I don't know,
That's awesome.
my art Instagram or something. No.
Yeah.
I never update it.
Oh,
That's
what
so
is it?
bad.
What's your handle?
Sierra, Sierra, Rose, Rose, photos.
Oh,
It
yes.
rhymes.
Oh, good.
I'm very bad at updating it, but
Love
I
it.
do sort of sometimes use my art photography degree to do stuff.
Hey, that's awesome. That's so cool. Well, everyone go follow Sierra's fabulous
Sure.
Instagram and don't get stabbed today.
Especially not in the
Stay
back.
sexy and don't get murdered.
Stay sexy and don't get murdered. You heard it here.
That's not mine. Some
First.
people will get that.
All right, shout out to everyone that is in Sierra's
It's not. It's from a
office.
different podcast. I'm sorry, I quoted a different podcast
Oh, no.
on this podcast.
You traitor.
It's from My Favorite Murder.
Ooh. Yeah, go watch that podcast too. That sounds like fun.
Watch it.
Read it or not
Listen
read
to
it.
it.
The other one.
I'm sorry.
Eat it. I don't know.
Eat it. Just ingest all that podcast
Oh,
goodness.
Indeed. Oh yes, absolutely. All right. Thank you so much for
Thank
hanging
you
out
for
with us,
having
Sierra.
me.
You're a total treat. And have a fabulous day.
You too.
Playing with some dead people.
Not today, but tomorrow I
Tomorrow,
will be.
have some fun playing with dead people tomorrow. All right. Tune in next time for another glorious episode of She Do. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That was a Onenie original podcast.